The Zaphirian armada stretched across the solar system like a plague of metal locusts, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing with predatory anticipation. Admiral Kethvar watched the primitive blue world through his command vessel's viewport, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. 300 ships strong, armed with weapons that could crack moons, they had given the humans their ultimatum 72 hours ago: surrender or face extinction. "Still no response from the surface, Admiral," reported his tactical officer, her voice carrying the typical Zaphirian contempt for inferior species. Kethavar's compound eyes gleamed. "Then they have chosen death. Begin orbital bombardment of their major population centers." But before the first weapon could charge, something impossible happened. The space between Earth and Luna began to ripple. Commander Ana Martinez felt the familiar tingle of quantum displacement as reality folded around her. After 15 years in the Shadow Fleet, the sensation of emerging from null space still made her stomach lurch. But today, she smiled through the nausea. Today was the day humanity showed the galaxy what they were truly capable of. "All units, this is Phantom Leader," she broadcast on the encrypted channel. "We are go for Operation Nightfall. Remember, they came to our home expecting sheep. Let's show them wolves." Around her, space erupted with the emergence of humanity's secret weapon. 200 vessels that defied every known law of physics and military doctrine. Ships that existed in the spaces between dimensions, invisible to conventional sensors. Powered by technologies reverse-engineered from crashed alien vessels over the past century. The Shadow Fleet had been humanity's best-kept secret since the first contact protocols were established. While diplomats smiled and traded cultural exchanges with alien races, humanity's brightest minds had been preparing for this exact scenario. Captain Helen Singh's voice crackled through the comm from his stealth destroyer, the Invisible Hand. "Ana, I'm reading massive confusion in their formations. They can't get a lock on us." "Because we're not entirely here," Ana replied, watching her instruments show the Zaphirian fleet's frantic scanning attempts. Her ship, the Phantom's Edge, existed in a quantum superposition, partially in normal space, partially in the dimensional fold that humans had learned to navigate. The Zaphirian admiral's confidence evaporated as his sensors registered impossibilities. Ships that appeared and disappeared, energy signatures that shouldn't exist, weapon systems that fired from angles that violated basic geometry. "How is this possible?" Kethavar demanded, his mandibles chattering with stress. "Our intelligence said they were barely space-capable." His answer came in the form of a human voice, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect Zaphirian dialect. "Admiral Kethvar of the Zaphirian Armada. This is Commander Ana Martinez of Earth's Shadow Fleet. You came here expecting to find a primitive species cowering before your might. Instead, you found something your species has never encountered before. Humans who were ready. The first volley of human weapons defied everything the Zaphirians understood about warfare. Quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, striking targets from directions that shouldn't be possible. Energy beams that curved through folded space to hit ships hiding behind others. Fighters that could phase through solid matter, appearing inside enemy vessels to deliver devastating payloads. Helen's ship materialized directly above a Zaphirian dreadnought, its hull rippling as it transitioned from null space. "Target acquired," he reported, his voice steady despite the impossible maneuver. "Deploying dimensional charges." The Zaphirian ship didn't just explode, it folded in on itself as reality briefly forgot how to maintain its structure in the affected area. Throughout the system, the pattern repeated. Humanity's Shadow Fleet moved like ghosts, struck like thunder, and disappeared like smoke. Ships that had spent decades hidden in the spaces between dimensions finally revealed themselves, piloted by crews who had trained their entire lives for this moment. Ana watched as the Zaphirian formation began to collapse. These weren't just superior weapons. This was superior thinking. While alien races had focused on building bigger guns and stronger shields, humanity had learned to bend the fundamental rules of reality itself. "Admiral, one of Kethvar's officers reported, voice shaking. "We've lost 40% of the fleet. Their weapons, they're not just advanced, they're impossible." But Anna wasn't finished. "All units, initiate Protocol Omega." Around Earth, space began to sing. The Shadow Fleet's ships synchronized their quantum drives, creating a resonance cascade that made the fabric of space-time itself vibrate. The effect was devastating. Zaphirian ships found their hulls developing stress, fractures from dimensional pressure, their weapons overloading as local physics became unreliable. "This is impossible," Kethvar whispered, watching his mighty armada crumble before weapons that shouldn't exist, tactics that defied logic, and a species that had spent 2 centuries preparing for this exact moment. Anna's voice filled the calm. Channels one final time. "You made 2 mistakes, Admiral. First, you assumed that a young species would be weak. Second, you threatened our home. Humans don't just fight to survive. We fight to win. And we've been preparing for visitors like you since we first looked up at the stars and wondered what else might be out there." The surviving Zaphirian ships began their retreat, limping away from Earth's solar system with less than a quarter of their original numbers. They would return to their empire with tales of the impossible, a species that had mastered technologies beyond their comprehension, hidden them in the shadows, and waited with predatory patience for the right moment to reveal their true nature. As the last alien vessel disappeared into hyperspace, Anna allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The galaxy had expected humanity to surrender or die. Instead, they had discovered that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, it was their refusal to accept that anything was impossible. The Shadow Fleet began to fade back into null space, returning to their hidden vigil among the dimensions. Earth was safe, but more importantly, the galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity wasn't prey. They were apex predators who had simply been waiting for the right moment to show their teeth. And they had been very, very patient.